Hi, I'm Craig Phillips. Welcome to my tiling trade tips. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set out and install your own mosaic Victorian style floor tiles. Now the products you're going to require are mosaic tiles, border tiles and corner tiles, a rapid set adhesive, grout and a sealant. And the tools you're going to require are a grouting float, a sponge, a trowel, a notch trowel, a tape measure trimming knife and a bucket for mixing with your PPE, a tile cutter and a spirit level. But the first thing you're going to need to do is measure up your floor and set out where you're going to lay your tiles. Whatever type of floor you're going to be laying your tiles on, make sure it's prepared. It needs to be clean and free from debris. You also want to check the level. Run your spirit level all the way around the area. If you find it's running out or any dips in the floor, you are going to have to cover it with some self-leveling compound before you start tiling. For my demonstration here, I'm on a wooden floor, so I fixed down some insulation boards to start tiling on. Now the beauty about these mosaic backers, it has this mesh sheet on the back of them which keeps all the tiles together, makes it easier to handle and lay, and of course sets out all the gaps equal between each tile. There's a corner one which is like this, so I'm going to start off by placing one of them just in the corner, and then I'm going to take a couple of the borders, place them either side, just leaving a little small gap in them, the same as what the backers set out. And that would be one starting point of a corner. However, it's very important that you do a dry run of these. So I'm going to leave these in the packages. I'm just going to lay them on top and just see how they work out with the length of my room. So if my corner was to end here, that's giving me about 40 or 50 millimeters gap one end and probably about the same on the other. So you've got a couple of options at this point. You can take one of your standard boards, cut a strip down and put it either side all the way along there, which would look fine. Or the center point here, you could actually cut into one of the borders and apply a couple of strips out the borders, set into place, and that will push your outer borders right up to the walls. So that's my first front row in position. The corner is now laid down in position, and I'm going to continue now the side run. I'm only going to put 3 full border strips in place there, and that'll give me, once this corner is on, that'll give me probably a good, certainly over a metre, maybe about 1200 millimetres, which is an average size of a hallway here. Perfect. Now I'm going to take these out of the packaging, dry run them again, just to double check I'm happy with the layout, and then I'm going to mix my adhesive and start to fix them down. So I'm using a rapid set flexible adhesive. Comes in a 20 kilo bag and it's mixed with cold clean water. I'm using a mixing paddle to mix the adhesive in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. Then spreading it across the surface using the flat edge of my trowel to get it as flat as possible before turning the trowel over and using the serrated edge to comb it through. So that's the adhesive laid onto the actual thermal board, combed through with a notch trowel, an 8mm notch trowel. It just helps you actually spread the tile adhesive evenly on there. Now I'm not going to put any pressure on this at the moment or start to square it out or level it out. I'm just going to place this first run very gently down into position, so I've still got a little bit of movement in there. Okay, and then I've got my corner one on here. Tiny little bit more tile adhesive on that edge. Okay. Now I'm going to get my spirit level, place it down on here a little bit and just check that I've got a straight edge on here. Of course, if you were starting off at the edge of your skirting boards or butt up to a wall, or if you had pasted out and you had a little gap in there, you could simply draw a line across there for your first course to keep it in. So that's my one corner in place. I'm going to get a full tile, or a tile mat, should I say. Again, very gently placing down. Do not put any pressure on an individual tile on here, because once you've pushed it down lower than the rest of the tiles, unfortunately you won't be able to pull it back up again. You'd have to take it back off, clean the adhesive and then reset it. That's one in place. Another one. And of course you've got a black and a red pattern on here, so you don't want to be putting the same colour up to one another. Once you get your first couple laid out and start to be spotted in a position, it will get a little bit quicker as you're moving. You'll know what you're looking out for. So again, red against the black here. Very gently. And each time I'm laying down one of these mats, of course, I'm leaving the gap between them, which will be grouted later, exactly the same size as the actual manufactured gaps that you get having the backing mat on the actual tile itself. So I've got my cutter 3 here. That's going to start with a black one in that corner. There we go. And now, as we can see here now, we mentioned a moment ago, I've got my 3 full mosaic sheets, and then I've got my cut one here just with the 3 tiles in, and each side I've got the same size gap along here, likewise where I've got it along here, and likewise there. And because we haven't committed and pressed these down yet, there is still a little bit of movement in there that you can kind of play around with until you get it right.
Now, with this being a rapid set adhesive, you don't want to apply too much of it on the area that you're about to lay your tiles. Each one of the tiled mats are about 300mm square, so I only spread about 400mm on the floor, comb it through and then lay the tiles. And also double checking your levels with your spirit level at all times. I tend to go from corner to corner.
And once you've got a few of the tiles down, if you see any of the tile adhesive oozing up between the gaps, do get a damp cloth or a sponge and just gently wipe it off. Of course, you don't want to move the position of the tiles because they are still wet at the minute, but just by lifting it off now will save a lot of work once they're dry and you're trying to scrub it off. So I'm just setting my last corner tile now on here and using my damp sponge again, wiping off any excess adhesive that's on there. Now, the way my length and width has turned out here, the start of it, my short width bit was 3 full mats of tiles and then a cut of 3 in the run. The actual overall length of it is working out at 7 full tiles, full mats, and then just 1 cut of a row of tiles to actually fit in this last area here. So that's all the tiles now fitted and fixed into position for my hallway. I'm going to get my wet sponge, give them another wash down to clear off all the tile adhesive. Once that's dried, they must be sealed with a pre-grout treatment before you actually grout them. Now my sealant is dry and been buffed, I'm ready to start grouting. I'm using a powdered grout mixed with cold water. Start off by applying this over the top of the tiles, filling in all the gaps around each and every tile using a grout float. Once you've covered 1 square metre, take a bucket of cold water and a sponge and start to wipe off the excessive grout off the top of the tile, not pressing too hard to remove the grout from in between the tiles. Then you can continue to apply another square metre of grout, repeating the same process with your sponge. Once you've completed applying the grout on the floor, come back to it every 15 minutes with some clean cold water and a sponge. Now, your particular floor at home may not be this size or shape, so of course you've got to work out your own measurements. You may have a long hallway like this with a doorway leading off, or a number of doorways leading off. So as you can see, I've fitted 4 corner ones on here. You can also take your corner ones and have them fitted into your borders, continuing off the run of here and here, placing them into position and then you continue the look with the plain tiles coming through into the room. So that's my mosaic Victorian style hallway now complete, and I'm sure you'll agree that would look fantastic in any room of the house, or maybe a small balcony or a porch. If you're looking for more inspiration and how-to videos, check us out on all social media handles, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to know more about the products I've been using, just check out the website tilemountain.co.uk.